Harry Maguire was more than a meme in the eyes of the fans. Tons of compilations of his fails, tons of articles and videos where journalists indeed made fun of him. It even got to a point where Harry started to receive threats. Add to that, Harry was no longer the captain. It would be reasonable to leave the club, but the man didn't give up. Last November, he won the EPL Player of the Month award, and let's be real, it gets scarier without him in the back. Let's remember 5 more stories about players who were considered memes and losers, but later became no less but heroes for their teams. Fifth place goes to Divock Origi. The 19-year-old center forward was signed by Liverpool as a future prospect and left on loan at his previous club Lille. The last season in France didn't go well. Liverpool fans even wondered why they bought him at all, but the Belgian moved to England almost simultaneously with Jurgen Klopp. Ultimately, this would play a decisive role in Divock's career at Anfield. Jurgen immediately started giving the young man more playing time than he deserved. The case was the same the following season. A bright game was somewhat of an exception, and in the summer of 2017, he was loaned out, which was pretty reasonable. At the time, the forward had scored 21 goals for Liverpool in 77 games. However, even in Bundesliga, the Belgian didn't shine, only 6 goals for Wolfsburg. Upon his return to England, it seemed like Origi was doomed to be sold soon. Even Klopp no longer showed signs of trust. It was all going south until the December of the 18-19 season, when in the final moments of a Liverpool derby, Jurgen decided to give him another chance. The Belgian took it seriously and put the ball in the net on the 96th minute, taking advantage of Pickford's mistake. Although he didn't start playing every game immediately, it was a great sign for Klopp. Firstly, he scored the third away goal against Newcastle in the 86th minute. That victory in matchday 37 allowed Liverpool to stay in the title race. And then comes the famous Champions League semi-final. Liverpool had to start their toughest match of the season without Firmino and Salah. Almost no one believed in the Reds. Origi seemed like one of the weakest spots in the first 11. But it was Divock who scored the first goal from a rebound, and in the 79th minute, Divock had a telepathic connection with Trent, and together they played out that legendary corner kick. The whole football world was in shock. A fantastic comeback, and its main hero, a guy in whom no one believed. And then he scored the second goal in the Champions League final against Spurs. Origi turned into a superhero of Anfield within days. Klopp would later call the Belgian nothing less than the legend of Liverpool, and the Great Farewell ceremony was just a true sign of that. Fourth is Kepa Arrizabalaga. The most expensive goalkeeper transfer in football history was considered a flop for a long time. Kepa indeed lacked the needed mentality for such a big club. The season under Sarri was inconsistent. On one hand, Arrizabalaga played regularly and won his first trophy, the Europa League, but on the other, he had only 68% save rate in the Premier League, and then there came an infamous scene in the League Cup final when he refused to be subbed, which became a meme. In his second year in London, Kepa started conceding almost half of the shots on target. At the beginning of Lampard's time after Sarri, it even seemed more logical to play veteran Willy Caballero. Everybody lost faith and trust in the Spaniard. In the following season, he made 3 costly mistakes in the first 3 games. Frank demanded that the management buy someone to replace Kepa sooner, but now the issue was urgent. Mid-season, they signed Edouard Mendy, and the Senegalese turned out to be incredibly good. Kepa played in secondary tournaments, but couldn't help them either. It felt like Kepa needed to leave as soon as possible, as he was clearly below the club's level. But the keeper found a way to impress the next Chelsea coach, Thomas Tuchel. The Spaniard showed excellent penalty-saving skills in training, and he was specifically brought on for the post-match shootout in the 190th minute of the UEFA Super Cup final, and it did work. Arrizabalaga remained the second choice but available role player. With him, Chelsea won 2 past-match shootouts in the 21-22 League Cup. Fans slowly changed their attitude towards him. In the 22-23 season, Kepa broke into the starting lineup, extending his previous clean sheet streak to 10 hours of playing time without conceding a goal, and finished the season with impressive stats among the league's best goalkeepers. One of his saves against Villa in October was named the best in the entire league. Kepa redeemed himself in the eyes of Chelsea fans, dealt with his problems, and changed his game. Without him, Chelsea would have been even lower in the table last season. Number 3 is Ousmane Dembele. The young winger was brought to replace Neymar. They paid 135 million for a 20-year-old guy with the wrong attitude towards football. Ousmane was sidelined in his second La Liga game, and he was out until January. After recovering from the injury, he returned, only to suffer a new injury immediately after. Prior to Xavi's arrival, Dembele had missed a total of 670 games due to this reason alone, almost 2 seasons out of 4, and in Dembele's case, it seemed that the reasons were not so much genetic as they were related to his attitude towards his body. Dembele skipped recovery, was eating trash food, could play PlayStation all night, and was late for training. Barca was shocked. Does this guy even have a brain? Only Xavi was able to set things right in his head. The new coach highly appreciated Ousmane's talent, especially his speed and technique. He defended the player when they were planning to sell him, became his personal mentor, and ultimately turned Dembele into a professional. In his second year under Xavi, the French winger was one of those leading the team to the championship. I have never seen a player with one-on-one dribbling ability like Dembele. In this regard, he's on par with Neymar, praised the Barca coach. Dembele's departure to PSG noticeably weakened the team and upset the fans. Now the Catalan public can only regret that one of their best lads is playing not in Barca, but in Paris. The runner-up is Fernando Torres. This is debatable. It was a winter transfer and the expensive newcomer didn't start well. 903 minutes without a goal until he finally scored in a home game against West Ham in April of 2011. This goal remained the only one for the Spanish striker in all competitions in his first 6 months at the new club. In the first 4 Premier League games of 11-12, Nando was silent. Then he scored in 2 consecutive league games, received a straight red card for a rough foul, and a 3-match suspension. And after his return, the Spaniard didn't score until mid-March, a 24-match goalless streak. You've probably seen the compilations of Torres misses in the blue shirt. It was just impossible to believe. Yet it was not the same in the Champions League. He had 3+5 in the victorious campaign for the Blues, including that goal at Camp Nou, which allowed them to reach the final, where Torres earned the corner from which they scored the crucial goal. Let's not forget about that either. In the following season, Chelsea, failing to advance from the Champions League group stage, was playing in the Europa League and won the trophy. Torres provided valuable contributions at all stages of the playoffs, including the first goal in the final. The best in the team for goals and assists in that campaign. Let's be real, you forgot about it. To sum up, Torres at Chelsea was no longer the consistent scorer he was at Atletico and Liverpool. It was just annoying. The hate was justified, but only until Nando helped win European trophies. Now, even some Chelsea fans will hate me if I start criticizing him. Can we forgive everything for that goal in the semis? Let me know what you think. And the biggest transformation belongs to Vini Jr. He had the most spectacular rise from the bottom, which can be considered a scandal in October 2020. I'm talking about that awkward night in Germany when Karim and Ferland Mendy had a little chat. The young Brazilian played so poorly that it seemed like he was playing against his own team. But let's go back to the beginning. Vinicius was brought to Madrid at the age of 18 for 45 million, and such an investment immediately seemed extremely risky. The guy didn't understand tactics, was disoriented, even his technique let him down in stressful moments. The Brazilian sometimes looked awkward with the ball as he wasn't Brazilian at all. Why did they buy someone like him? In the first 3 seasons, when they tried to integrate Vinicius into the squad, he consistently had poor finishing. If you look at these highlights from those years now, you simply won't believe your eyes. The Brazilian flourished like many other Madrid players under Ancelotti. Papa Carlo returned to Madrid in the summer of 2021. He brought Benzema and Vinicius to a crazy level. Vinicius is second in terms of contributions in the team after Karim. The Brazilian has 17+13 in the winning La Liga and 4+7 in the Champions League, including the winning goal against Liverpool. Today, 23-year-old Vinicius is the most expensive winger in the world, a recognized master that any top club dreams of. PSG sees him as a replacement for Mbappe. In just a couple of years, the meme Vinicius has turned into a player comparable to Mbappe. Last year, we thought that Ballon would compete with Mbappe and Haaland for the Ballon d'Or. But now, keeping in mind how Vini becomes better day by day, it seems like you shouldn't sleep on the Brazilian as well. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if so, I want you to do 3 things. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to watch our previous video over here. See you soon, and know the ball.